Welcome back to the Duke at X podcast. This is a space where founders can really be inspired and explore what it takes to build businesses that meet community needs. And it's also where you can take a moment to pause, to breathe, and to be. My name is Kimberly Danielle, and I am your co-host, a community builder, and I'm also a coach and a communication strategist who comes from generations of faith-driven entrepreneurs and leaders who believe that our purpose should drive us to contribute to the common good. And as always, I am joined by my co-host, Stephen Lewis. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, Kimberly, it's good to be with you. I am a catalyst for positive change in communities and businesses. And for over 2 decades, I've inspired leaders and entrepreneurs to live and work on purpose with intention, faith, and a commitment to their well-being. And today you're listening to the 3rd episode in our special montage series. We're talking about real leadership challenges that early stage founders face, especially when you're not just building a vision, but you're leading a team.
You'll also hear us exploring what to consider in the midst of uncertainty in your business. When things are just not working out, and a lot of people are experiencing this. Is it time to pivot? Is it time to just walk away? Is it time to do something different?
We'll also highlight important and valuable ingredients for the entrepreneurial journey, namely community. What does it mean to have a support system that you can lean on and that can remind you why you started in the first place?
If you've ever questioned your path, your leadership, or the weight of doing it all alone, which you shouldn't be doing it alone, this episode is for you.
So let's get started.
We are going to just have a conversation about the importance of community, particularly as entrepreneurs. So I'm specifically going to focus on entrepreneurs in this conversation today and to just provide some practical steps to building the support system that you feel like you need and you want to create for yourself, for your journey. Community can provide a source of resilience. It can help you see that you are not alone. It can give you a place of belonging. And it can also just give you a competitive advantage as an entrepreneur because, let's keep it real, we can go further when we are not alone. And it is a resource pool. So 3 key steps to really building the support system are these: identify, engage, and build. So when I say identify, I'm talking about connecting with the right people. When I'm talking about engaging, I'm talking about talking to not only the right people, but getting outside of your comfort zone, because some of us get stuck in our little box and don't want to leave out of that, even if we desire to connect with people. So, kind of push yourself to get there and then build. I have had many conversations lately with folks who have asked me, well, what is the best way to build relationships toward a specific goal? And I always say, and I will say it here too, because building relationships is a part of building community. I always go into building relationships and building my community with a sense of reciprocity, meaning that I'm not going in with an agenda, looking to just get something from somebody. I'm going into with a sense of curiosity to learn about the human, to learn about their story, what they're up to, what they're looking for, and how our stories intersect with one another. And then from that, what is it that I can give to this person, whether it's just as basic as being a conversation partner, but it might be something more. And then from that, what typically happens is that people are interested in learning my story or learning how they can support what I'm up to. Ultimately, I go into it just curious about the person and I stay open to what's going to happen next. There is a woman named Catherine Finney, and she has a book called Build the Damn Thing, which I highly recommend you going out and getting her book. And Catherine is a founder. She is an investor. She is so many things. So you should definitely check her out and learn more about her. I mentioned her because one of the things that she mentions in her book is about building a personal advisory board. Now, I'm going to share what she says when she talks about personal advisory board. A lot of people think about advisory boards for a business, but that's not what she's talking about. She's talking about a personal advisory board for the human that is behind the business. And so when you are building community, seeing who you want to have on your team is important that you find folks who they're not necessarily thinking about your business. They're thinking about you as the person, your personal life, your entrepreneurial endeavors, your leadership, and who is going to be honest with you to tell you not necessarily what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. Catherine talks about doing even a personal SWOT analysis to get clear about your strengths and weaknesses that will help you think about who you should invite into your community so that it can speak to some of the challenges or weaknesses that you might possess or see that you have. And ultimately, she talks about the people that you should have in your community, in your support system, in these categories: a BS meter, which I would say is a truth teller, that person that is just going to keep it real, regardless of, how you might feel about it or if it's something you want to hear or not. They are going to tell you the truth. And then a motivator. And I see that as your hype person, the person that is just going to hype you up when you need that and really kind of inspire you and motivate you. Next, a listener. Somebody who is there to just listen to you when you are going through things, when you are facing challenges. And sometimes we don't necessarily need somebody who's going to tell us what to do. We just need somebody to listen, a listening ear. And that is so important in entrepreneurship, to have somebody who can understand you, is not going to be judgmental, ask a question, listens well. A personal comedian is the last category of a person that she says should be in your support system. And I think this is important too, because at the end of the day, we all need laughter. The entrepreneurial journey can be isolating, can be lonely. A lot of people can be in that valley and get stuck. And a comedian or a personal comedian can help to lift you up among these other folks that are in your community. I invite you to engage, get outside of your comfort zone, especially if you're uncomfortable in spaces where you're interacting with people. Get outside of your comfort zone to build that community. And then look at building your personal advisory board. I am most positive that if you do those three things, that you will be in a better space to build a business. Now, I'm looking forward to our brief conversation today. What you can expect is a conversation about leadership challenges and opportunities for early stage founders who employ and lead and manage their team. Now, the Brookings Institute, and I believe it was this year, they report that about 2.7 of Black-owned businesses have employees, and Latino, Latina, or Hispanic and Native Americans also have disproportionately low shares, with 6.9% and 0.08%. So, listening to these statistics, if you are a founder of color who has employees, you are rare. And congratulations. You have wisdom, you have insight that you need to be sharing with other folks. If you're able to consistently make payroll and make money for your business, there is something that you're doing that is working. So, Stephen, won't you get us started with talking about, a challenge that you see, opportunity that you see that could be helpful to these founders out here?
When your time is so vested in so many different things, you can't bring the type of focus and narrowing that you need to in order to attend to, building the kind of environment, culture, and the team that you want. And so part of it is, I think, is about kind of prioritizing what things need your attention and to recognize that not everything can have your attention equally.
It is also important to release control. A challenge that I have seen founders experience is the ability to release control because they started off being so close to different areas of the work, even if it wasn't necessarily an area where it was what some may call their zone of genius. They did it to get their business off the ground. But now that they're in a position of growing their business and bringing others on the team, they have some resistance to releasing control over these different areas of work. The opportunity here is to really allow others to lean into their gifts and their expertise, which will ultimately benefit them and their leadership, benefit your team, and benefit your business. Because let's be real, we're not all gifted in all areas of growing a business. So lean into where your area should be as the founder, what your strengths are, and allow others to lean into their strengths as well, as we all obviously grow where our areas of growth are, but we intentionally lean into our strengths. Recently, I have been talking to a lot of entrepreneurs who have questioned or are questioning the viability of their business due to lack of revenue and traction primarily. Not to say that's the only reason, but that's the primary reason. They're just not making money and they're not gaining customers. And they're really wondering if they should keep going with their business to try to see if it's going to work, or if they should get a job on the side while they continue their business so that they can support themselves financially, or if they should just call it quits with their business and go back and get that good old W-2. Even though the business was, being an entrepreneur was a passion and dream, they're considering hanging that hat up and just going back to the other side. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But really, they're at this crossroads of figuring out what's next. And so today we're going to just chat a little bit about what to consider if you are one of those entrepreneurs.
Tell some entrepreneurs, don't give up. Don't do it. Don't give up. So I think sometimes you have to be willing to pivot. Sometimes we're married to our dreams and solutions that we care about, but it's not something that everybody else cares about. And then there are times where we have to recognize that sometimes you have a good solution, but it's at the wrong time. I think part of it is about understanding the challenge that your business is facing. So maybe it's, oftentimes it's a lack of revenue, right? And so part of the question is, are your prices too low? Or maybe they're too high. Are your overhead expenses too high for the stage of your business? Is there an actual need in the marketplace for your business, product or service? Maybe it is your marketing is ineffective. So are you reaching your ideal paying customers with your marketing, your digital marketing efforts? Or are the economic conditions or trends in your industry affecting your business success? But I think once you kind of do a little bit of excavation and research and discover the challenge below the surface, then you can reflect on if the challenge is one that can actually be addressed or solved. And if so, you develop a plan of action, or you bring, maybe some trusted advisors to help you think about what may be possible solutions that you can explore and put a plan together to actually explore those particular solutions that you come up with.
I think the other thing to consider is that you can explore alternative ways to support yourself while continuing to figure out what that challenge is and if you can solve it. And even if you start to experience some success from the pivot that you might do to address that challenge, it might take a little bit of time to actually see that success turn into money. So take that into consideration. So what are you going to do in the meantime? But in any scenario that you explore. Oh, and let me say before I say this, do not see yourself as a failure if that is something that you have to do. Do not, because so many people have been there, work on your business, get the money that you need to live, because that is important. And especially if you are responsible for another person or people within your household, do what you have to do. And if you are also working a job while building your business, keep in mind that you will have to be even more intentional about how you manage your time, because you will be split in different ways. You have this added responsibility of another job. So just be intentional about planning out your priorities and how you will spend your time so that you can take care of yourself.
You need to make a decision to move forward with the support that you need. So set realistic expectations and goals. Reach out to mentors, peer entrepreneurs, advisors, friends, or family for support. And the most important thing, take care of yourself. Because whether you choose to move forward in your business or bring it to a close, we hope that your entrepreneurial journey brings you growth, valuable insights for the next chapter in your life and what you might do and what is to come.
If you find that you have to close your business down, you can still take what you've learned and use it for whatever you choose to do next, whether you choose to start another business, whether you choose to pause and come back to this business, whether you choose to go and find a job in a field that you have gifts for full time. You can always use and leverage what you've learned and gleaned for other opportunities. So if you are in the space of really facing tough choices and you don't want to do it alone, of course, we are all about community, and we want you to join the Do Good X community. You can go to dogoodx.org and join our LinkedIn group. And here you can find resources and tips and tools for the journey. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please do leave us a rating and review it, or share it with somebody who needs to hear it, because maybe you know another entrepreneur who is at this crossroads and needs some things to consider or to think about, reflect on, to help them to discern what's next. So please do share it. And we appreciate you tuning in. Until next time, we hope you join us again, and we hope that you take care of yourself. Be well and do good.
Thank you for listening to the Do Good X podcast. To continue the conversation or access our resources, visit www.dogoodx.org. Join us again for conversations that will nourish your soul, ignite your dreams, and empower you to build an impactful business, one intentional step at a time. Until then, keep striving, thriving, and doing good.